What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Looking for My Fit podcast. My name is Jamika. I am your host, and today I have another one of my favorite people. Y'all notice, I just fall in love with everybody. And so today I am honored to bring you one of my P2P sisters. She is a boss, she is a CEO, and she is about to change the world with her story. Welcome to the podcast, my girl, Lindsay Rae Perry.
Thank you so much, Jamika. You are one of my favorite people. I just love your energy. Like, even before we were doing this, I've been getting these resistance attacks before I've been doing like podcasts and speaking engagements. And I would get like this ungodly exhaustion on me. And the moment I saw your face, it just was like, oh, it's all good. Like she's a fireball. So I'm good.
I feel so sweet. Thank you.
Yes, but thank you.
Well, I had Taylor on. So I've had an episode where I talked about purpose to platform. So I think if you have been listening, you should know. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go back and listen. But my last guest was Taylor, who is also in P2P. And I also met Lindsay through P2P, Purpose to Platform. Lindsay, I don't know if you realize this, and I think people would agree with me. You busted the gates wide open for people to be like, okay, let me show up. You were. You were the first one to do a live video. I think you were the first one in the group who did a live video, and you went live and you were just like, this isn't even what I do. And you were just like, I'm just going, I'm showing up. I'm going to show out. And I think that video got everybody hyped, and everybody was like, me too. I'm showing up. I'm showing out. And I've just loved your energy. I love what you bring. I love your transparency. I love how vulnerable you are, because the thing I've learned, especially over this last year, is there's so much power in vulnerability, and there's so many people who can be saved when you're willing to share your story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm just grateful that you agreed to be on here to share your story.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm just grateful that I've gotten to the place where I recognize the power in sharing my story.
And
you share more time to be here.
Well, you share your story so well, and that's why I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
So let me tell my people why you're here. So, I've been doing a series, Women Who Went For It, and you are definitely a woman who went for it, and you're still going for it. So I definitely want to talk about all the amazing things that you have going, but I specifically wanted you to come on here so that we could talk about burnout, because we are currently living in a culture where burnout and the relentless grind is being glorified. And I think that is trash. It is stupid and it sucks. I'm like, no, I do not want to grind till I pass out. I do not want to brag that I was grinding while you sleeping. No, I should have been asleep too. And your story is a testament to why the grind should not be glorified. So here's where we're gonna start. Then I'm gonna put myself on mute. I'm handing the mic over to you to tell the story. But now, so a lot of times, so another thing I want to point out, we see other people's highlight reel, or we see the end result. What we don't see is everything that person endured to get to that point. So if what you're doing is what I aspire to do, and I see you there, I can easily get frustrated because she's there, she's killing it. Why am I not there? Why am I not killing it? But people don't know your story. You know what I mean? They see your testimony, but they don't know the test you went through to be able to have this testimony.
Exactly.
So you don't have to touch on it long, because I'm telling you, the story, y'all about to be blown away. She's amazing. You are now a boss and a CEO. You own your own company. See that? I want to own my own company too. But I want you to tell the story of how you even got to the point of owning your own company. Let's talk about why burnout should not be glorified and how you figuring that out helped you to now be a boss.
All right. Okay. So I guess first I'm just going to give a little background of who I am and who I am now and what people see as far as glorified, right? So my name is Lindsay Rae Perry. I identify myself as a daughter of God, a follower of Christ. I am a wife, a mother, an award winning strategist, and the CEO of a tech company by the name of Apps Admins. My tech company is a cloud solutions company helping to all-in-one cloud solutions company helping businesses to scale and grow in the cloud, which is digitally online. Beyond that, right? So we help businesses with Google Workspace. We help manage remotely their tech in any business up to 100 to 5,000 users. So we stay busy in that area. But beyond that, before I got here, so I've owned Apps Admins for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. But before we got here, I was born and raised in Toledo, Ohio, born to parents who had what most would say complicated circumstances. My mother and my father fell in love, but my father was a married man, supposed to be separated. My father had a child with his wife who ended up passing away and ended the relationship kind of sort of with my mom and rekindled with his wife. And my mother, as a strong Black woman, decided that she was going to stand on her own 2 feet and not submit herself to a circumstance of being rejected or being treated as if she wasn't worthy of being a wife. And so I'm my mother's only child. And within that, I did not know that I was actually born out of an affair. So this will actually tell you why burnout is my story. Grinding is my story. So my relationship with my father, if I wanted to see him, I had to page him. I had never stepped foot in my father's home. If I would go to work with him. If, we wanted to connect, we would go to a restaurant of his choice. Everything was always on his terms and everything was always about doing. Beyond that, my mother worked maybe 2 to 3 jobs at a time, always first shift to third shift in the summertime. And all I saw was hustle and grind. It's not like we had a lot, but I didn't really need or want for anything. Beyond that, I became an overachiever, right? So I was always trying to get straight A's, always doing, always going to the next achievement, always trying to figure out how I could be seen. And it wasn't until I was about 12 years old, and I never told this story before, so this is something new. You're getting an exclusive, but it wasn't until I was about 12 years old that I actually found out that I was a child of an affair. I missed the bus, and my father's home was right across the street from the middle school I went to. And a friend of mine, I told her, I said, my father is at home because I saw his car. And so I had never went to his house before, went across the street, knocked on his door, and I'm like, we can ask my dad to take us home, And my father opened up the window. And I remember he was shaving, he had shaving cream all over his face. He cracked open the window, he saw me, looked me in my eyes and said, Lindsay, I said, hey, Dad. He said, what are you doing here? And I said, well, we missed the bus. And he said, what if he said his wife's name, what if she would have answered the door? And me at 12 years old, I had no idea. I said, well, I don't know. I never met her. I would say hi, I don't know. And my heart was pounding through my chest. And he said, don't come back here again. Oh. I'll call you later. And so at that moment, I'm shocked. This was the first time I had ever even stepped to the threshold of my father's, door, his home. And that's the reaction that I got, an immediate rejection, right? And so my friend, God bless her heart, Dominique, I will never forget her. She said, come on, Lindsay, let's go. So we walked home. It took us about an hour and maybe 10 to 15 minutes to get there. 12-year-old girls walking home from school. But I remember not crying because it was like, don't cry, don't crack. I had this lump in my throat the entire time. My stomach was just fluttering, but this was probably the first time I had experienced heartbreak, rejection, and actual abandonment. Didn't know what it was, right? I didn't know what to call it. So then when we got home, I just remember bursting into tears and saying, I can't wait for my mom to get home so I can tell her. Told my mom the story, and that's when my mother told me the story. And at that moment, from that moment on, I started looking at my life through the lens of feeling illegitimate and feeling unworthy and feeling as if I, had no business being on earth. I was abandoned. I was an abomination. You know, when I looked up what is a bastard when you have a child out of an affair, I started looking at my lens of that level of shame. And so beyond that, I started trying to get my father's attention. Everything was always on his terms. I only called him when I needed something. I never really got it, but that was me doing, right? And it wasn't until beyond college, I was doing. Couldn't wait to get out of college to get to a career. Moved from Ohio to Washington, D.C. And I had these big dreams and these big goals and this big vision to work in politics because my background is in economics and political science. And so I get to D.C. and I'm doing all the things. I'm hustling, I'm grinding, I'm sending letters to CEOs asking to, meet them for coffee. And I'm trying to reach the top of whatever it is I'm trying to reach the top of. I want acknowledgement. I wanted affirmation. I wanted my father to see me, right? I wanted my mother to see me. And so I get to Washington, D.C. I'm working, started a business in 2014. First client was a presidential candidate. I'm flying all over the country. I'm doing. Get off of that campaign. I start doing media, right? I'm hosting Sirius XM shows and I'm going on international news, RT news. I'm doing all of these things. I'm married at the time, but my number one goal was just career. I was career driven. I had to do. I would go in places and go in spaces that did not celebrate me, that just used me for my gift. I wasn't being paid for the speaking opportunities. It was, hey, Lindsay, can you come here? Yes. I would go to events and it was all about the hustle. It was all about the grind. It was all about the next opportunity. Perhaps maybe I can meet someone and they can send me here. But I didn't really believe in myself. I would go on these television shows and then I would go home and cry myself to sleep. I would be on this little high of saying, oh, I did this thing, and post it on social media and look good on the gram and say, hey, I did this interview today. But then I would go home and say, I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow because I don't know if I want to wake up tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I would go home and have panic attacks, right? I would be so depressed. My marriage was not in a good space. We weren't really connecting because he was grinding and I was grinding, and we were trying to figure out, living in DC on a low budget with high costs. Like, it was just all about work. And it wasn't until 2017 where not only was I burnt out and I was tired of showing up in spaces that really did not align with who I knew God was calling me to be and who I desired to be at the core. I felt like I had a mask on, and I ended up having a nervous breakdown. And beyond that, it wasn't just the grinding, it was almost the end of my marriage. I collapsed in the middle of the street. The ambulance had to collect my body from the street. They asked me where I lived, and I gave them the childhood home that I grew up in as my address. I ended up in the hospital. They had no idea exactly what, was wrong with me. And it was a nervous breakdown. But now at this point in my life, I can call it a nervous breakthrough, because it was at that moment that I recognized that the way that I had been living and the way that I had been running was like on a hamster wheel. And I wasn't running to something. I was running from something. I was running from all of my childhood trauma that I ignored to face. And the fact that, I had this flawed and beautifully broken relationship with my father. The fact that all I saw was my mother hustling, and I know who I didn't want to be, but I never sat down and created a vision for who it is that I wanted to be. And a lot of times when, and this happens with a lot of people, we grow up a certain way, whether that's in survival mode, and we see our mother struggling or we see our father struggling, and we know the person that we don't want to be. We don't want to live that life. But if our only focus is who you don't want to be, then you end up subconsciously running directly into that life because you haven't crafted or created a vision for who it is you actually want to be. And so my breakthrough was when God literally sat me down and showed me this panoramic picture of my life and what I looked like and the issues that I was truly, truly dealing with. And that was really the root of rejection. I was dealing with the seed of rejection that I saw my entire life as walking into spaces as a burden. I didn't believe I was worthy of living the life that I wanted to live. I walked through doors believing that you don't ask for anything because you're not worthy of asking. And if people treat you badly, that's because, you know, girl, you're illegitimate. You're unworthy. Of course they treat you that way. They see shame all over you, and that is who you are. And I tied that to my identity. And so even though I thought I had this pseudo confidence, right, when I would show up in spaces, what was really showing up was this little girl who so desperately needed to be affirmed by her father, who needed to be accepted, who needed to feel like she belonged. I felt like a secret, right? On the surface, everyone knew that I was my father's daughter, but underground it was, you can only meet me in spaces that my wife isn't, right? And even though I was on my father's dental plan, but that's a whole nother story, because I feel like if I'm on your dental plan, somebody knows you got a daughter named Lindsay. I'm just saying. However, I wasn't allowed to go to family reunions. You know, I was rejected from those spaces. And so when I go into my adult life thinking that, oh yeah, that was just my normal, I don't have to deal with it because there's nothing there. No, it was the entire way. And all of my behavior was crafted from that root and that spirit of rejection. And when God broke me through, right, and showed me, what is it that matters to you? If you want a relationship with me, and if you call yourself my daughter, then you have to see that this is what I need to cut out of you. This is what I need to get out of you in order for you to live the life that I'm calling you to live. Because yes, you're called to great things. But if you go on with this root, with this seed of rejection in your life, you will fall. And so let's deal with this first and get your priorities in order and understand who you are before I can catapult you into destiny. Because your life is not meant to be a secret. I did not create you to be a secret. I created you to be a city set on a hill, right? I created you to be the light of the world. That's what I created you to be. So we need to get this, and we need to get this root of rejection out of you. And I need to fill it with my love, and I need to fill it with my acceptance, and I need to tell you who you are. You're my daughter. So when you're blessed, you won't question why I'm blessing you. You'll know that it's because I love you, and that's just what I do, because that's what I can do. I'm sovereign. And so that in 2017, we were still in Washington, D.C., and I talk a lot about right gift and wrong place, right? So God gave us the word to move to Charlotte, which is where you are.
Hey!
And if you have any questions, you can always pause. But
look, girl, I'm sitting over here with my emotions all over the place. Let me give you a shout out. We don't even say this behind the scenes. You tell that story with just, that's your story. And the reason you're able to tell that story the way you are is because you have embraced, you know what I mean, like your story. And like you said, sometimes you run away from it, but you're like, no, I'm going to stand in my story. Because one, standing in it helps to give you the freedom. You take the power back from that.
Yes.
That you are not a secret. You were never meant to be a secret. But also, girl, somebody's listening to this thing right now. Chains falling everywhere. Chains are falling, girl. I'm just, okay, listen, carry on. I just needed to jump in and say that. Look, everybody, somebody listening there is like, Jamaica, be quiet. I hear you. Go ahead.
So I feel like I'm not even tearing up. I'm sweaty. I get like sweaty in my top lip. But anyways, when I get going. Anywho, so we were still in Washington, D.C., and I talked a lot about right gift, wrong place. And God had given me the word to Charlotte. And I'm like, who's in Charlotte? I don't know nobody in Charlotte. I did know some people in Charlotte, but in terms of like moving me and my husband at the time to Charlotte, like it was like, okay. I talked it over with my husband. He was like, we don't know anyone in Charlotte, but the life that we were living in DC was just not it, right? So we didn't have any children at the time. My husband and I, we were due to move to a new place. We moved to a new place, ended up, after 2 miscarriages at the same time of the breakdown / breakthrough. We ended up conceiving our beautiful baby boy, who was 2 now, but this was a new life for us. God had restored us at this moment. He was restoring our marriage. He was putting things back into place. He was putting things in order. Yes, we were struggling financially, but we were always provided for and always taken care of. And it wasn't until our son was about 6 months that, I went to revisit the journal where I put Charlotte in the journal, and I'm like, babe, I think it's about time for us to get up on out of here. This is just not working. And so literally maybe a month later, my husband ended up losing his job. And at that point, we were like, there was nowhere else for us to go. And I remember my mother-in-law, Yvette, she sent me a sermon on Deuteronomy 28. And I literally read the blessing and I read the curse. And when I saw what the curse was, and I was like, my life right now, even though I'm getting blessed there's something that's holding me back, because it's looking a lot like a curse and I need to get out of it. And so I realized the blessing of obedience. And so there was no other, we didn't talk to a lot of people. It was like, we're going to Charlotte. We don't know where we're going to live. We don't know where we're going to work. We don't know what we're going to do. I had already dissolved my business. So at this point, I was kind of just, really on maternity leave, breastfeeding and spending time with my baby. So at that point, we went to Charlotte, North Carolina. Somewhere in between time, I went to go be with my mother for just maybe a couple of weeks. And then I remember my mom saying this specific thing, because things weren't moving as quickly as I would have liked them to with my husband in Charlotte. And I remember my mother saying, that's because God told you guys to go there. He didn't say, oh, husband, go while I sit and wait back. He said, you're not there. So at that moment, I said, you know what? Say no more. Pack my bags. Yes. Thank you, mama. Pack my bags, pack my baby up, got on a plane, stopped in Chicago, got some popcorn, and then went on to Charlotte. And every single day, God proved himself faithful. And we went from not knowing where we were going to live to eventually moving into a 3-bedroom condo. We went from not knowing where we were going to work to both of us end up building businesses. And a former partner of mine who I've worked with in the tech world was done. He was like, you take it over. I want you to take over this company 100%. And for the past couple of years, I kept saying no, but this time just felt right? And so I said yes. I literally got the business 100% in my name and just said, God, if anybody's going to do this, it's going to be you, because I'm coming off of maternity leave. I feel a little rusty, but I know that I'm prepared. And so we took that business in the middle of a pandemic. God took it from 0 to 6 figures. I wasn't making anything, right? We went from not knowing where we were going to live. Mind you, I told you I moved to Charlotte, but I moved to Charlotte with about $100 and something. Okay. I didn't have a lot. And so, within that, and I've seen him just prove himself faithful, because I tried to do the hustle and grind thing when I first moved to Charlotte. I tried to hit up, all of the CEOs and say, hey, my name is Lindsay Perry. I'm a strategist. Come on and meet with me. And I was meeting with people. I was going to it was just like this. God was like, you still don't get it.
He's like, you have not learned. He's like,
girl. Trying to put old wine into new wine skins. Come on, sis. Girl. Like, this is different. This is different. Let me do it. And that is when I was in the bathroom. And it's funny because I tell this story because our coach Patrice tells us about her breakthrough moment in the bathroom where she's on the floor crying. I was in the bathroom and it was just in the middle of the night and I had my phone with me, and God literally gave me the I am quotient. And I said, well, God, what is this? What is the I am quotient? And I was having a conversation with him about, I don't know what it is you want me to do, but whatever it is, you're going to have to do it. And I don't know how I'm supposed to, tell, like, I'm this tech lady. Like, what do you want me to say? And he gave me the scripture in Exodus where Moses was having trouble going to Pharaoh and saying, let my people go. So when he said, well, God, who am I supposed to say sent me? Tell them that I am sent you. And so that is where my method, the I am quotient, comes from. It's about identity, right? It's about, I will become whoever you need me to become. I will be whoever you need me to be. That's in business, that's in life, that's in money, that's in relationships, that's in everything. And so I took that and said, okay, we're going to write. He said, write out a vision. Who am I? How was I identifying myself? Take a real deep look and say, are you aligning with that broken little girl version of you? Or are you going to align with my daughter? You are not a slave. You are my daughter. So are you going to align with her? And then are you aligning your vision to my vision? What I want for your life. I know what I have for you, but you can't go out there and do what you want to do. You need to align with the vision that I have for your life. And in manifestation, I'm not talking about this woo-woo idea of manifestation where I'm just thinking of it, think of some popcorn and it ends up on my desk. No, I'm talking about God manifesting his will, his glory, his power through me to tell the story that he brought me through so that somebody else can be healed. So identify who you are, align with the vision that God has for your life, and allow for him to manifest that result so you can be blessed, so you can live a blessed life. So yes.
Lindsay Rae Perry. Lindsay Rae Perry.
Yes.
First of all, you are so fire. I'm so serious. I know I ain't talking woo-woo manifestation, but just let me say, I cannot wait to see you. Because see, these numbers going down, the world's about to open up. And girl, I cannot wait to see you standing on stage, telling this to thousands and millions of people. I need you to go ahead and receive that real quick.
I receive it. Caught it. I receive it.
Girl, I feel full. Okay. You talking to me and I'm like, she telling the story, but she talking to me. Wait a minute. I need the I am quotient. Got to remember who I am. Before we got started, I was telling you, I said, I it's been some stuff on my heart, but I feel like I'm punking out. Out and just you like, well, who you aligning yourself with? You aligning yourself with the old, you feel me? So it's like it's a new skin. I'm trying to put old wine, but I need the new skin with the new wine so it can expand and I'll bust the seams on that thing.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I'm convicted. I got you. I hear you, Lord. See, look at God. So listen, there's a praise party going on in somebody's office and somebody's car right now. They feeling this. So let's get deeper into I am, because Lindsay, that story, I mean, you have broken it all down. If they don't know, they not gonna know. This is something serious. So when you're talking about the I am quotient, you said he's giving it to you. This is not just for you.
No.
This is something you're getting ready to, like, you have people to serve.
Yes.
And you get ready to serve your people with the I am quotient. So let's break down what this is about to look like, or tell me whatever it is you want to share about I am.
So first of all, thank you so much for holding me accountable to saying, oh, you got people to serve. Yes, I am very clear that I have people to serve and that the I am quotient is not just for me. And so I wrestled for a while with, okay, God, how do you want this to look? I'm going to tell my story naturally. That's what feels like the next best step for me is speaking and telling my story. Writing a book, that's what feels natural to me. But also eventually, and look out, I can't give a date right now, but I want people to follow me so that they can follow along with the journey. Lindsay Rae Perry everywhere. Lindsay Rae Perry everywhere. And so I will be launching a course where I can walk women entrepreneurs through finding identity, retiring from the hustle and grind culture, and really building a sustainable life and business. And my cloud solutions company, Apps Admins, helps us with the tech and the marketing and all of that. But we can't get to that part. Like, a lot of people think they need marketing, but they need healing for real. So we can't get to that part until we actually get to the identity part, get to the vision, get to the bigger scheme of things. And then we can add in, the sustainability, the manifestation portion. That's when that comes along.
Come on, Lindsay, girl. You see, I'm now, I feel like I'm about to sweat. You are preaching that mindset. So even if we jump back to like what we've been in, I think initially when you get into this program where you're like, okay, I know I have purpose. I know what I'm going to do. Show me how to get, show me what and it was like, Oh no, boo. You thought we were gonna jump in here and jump straight to that? It was like surprise. You got a whole lot of stuff you got to unpack before we can get
Yes.
like your mindset is everything.
It
So it doesn't
is.
matter all this other stuff you're gonna do if you're still harboring the old you, if you're still aligning with that hurt little girl from whatever situation or whatever childhood trauma you may have experienced yourself, if you're still holding on to that, because we sometimes downplay childhood trauma. The reality of the situation is I am still her years more. Yeah, I'm the same child who just got older. I didn't
Girl.
I didn't step out of her and leave her there and then walk away. I am still her. And I
And
think
the, mm,
we get
mm,
away
mm,
from that.
mm.
So we don't realize the decisions that we make, the things that we've been through. So like one of the things I had to unpack was, in high school, people would say, she thinks she all this. She thinks she all that. And I couldn't understand it. I was like, I kept a super small circle. And so, and then people would say, well, she thinks she cute. And so I thought like, well, you shouldn't think good things about yourself
Yeah.
because then people talk about you and this is what you experience. And then my senior year of high school, one of the awards that I won was most conceited. So I want you to think about like walking across a stage as an 18-year-old in front of your peers, in front of your parents, in front of other
Mm.
people to get an award that says you think you're better than other people. And then I went into life saying, I don't want anybody to see me. Like when I left, I was like, no light will shine from here. I
Yeah.
shall downplay myself. I will not do anything to ruffle feathers. I do not want to stand out. I do not want attention. Don't see me. Let me lay low. And you don't realize. So and then it becomes a habit. It becomes a pattern. It becomes just like your way of life and how you live. So it has taken a lot for me to get to the point to put myself back out because I was fighting she thinks she better than everybody. She
My
thinks she cute.
goodness.
And so if you think that part doesn't matter, that part does matter. You
Yeah.
do need to get down into that point. And so I am is saying, look, what did you just say? Because I can't even say it. You said we got to get to the healing. To say it again.
Oh, a lot of people think they need marketing, but they really need healing.
Oh, God.
But let me say this though. She thinks she cute because she is cute, right? Like Jamaica Richardson, she thinks she's cute because she is cute, right? She is all that in a bag of chips. And as one of our coaches said, she is big business because she can, she will, and that's who she is. So
Well, thank you.
let's just clarify that.
Thank you.
Right?
I receive that now. I received
Yeah.
that. It takes a lot to pull yourself up out of that.
And I think what it is though, and to help people out there who also, because we've all had that, who do you think you are? Every time you try to do something big or try to do something new and take that leap, recognize that some people don't have the capacity, right, for that level of light. And so think about someone who is asleep. Think about sleeping in a bedroom and you're in a pitch black bedroom and your eyes are closed and then somebody come in there and just turn on the light and open up the blinds. The first reaction you're going to have is you're going to be like, get that light out of my eyes. I don't want to see that. Stop. Yeah. You're going to go off, right? And it's irritating to the eye. That's how it is when you're shining and people are used to darkness. It's like, get that light out of my, I don't want to see that. It's too bright. But that doesn't mean that the light is supposed to stop shining.
Look.
Right? Like we need to continue to shine our light. And those who don't have the capacity to see, we can pray for their eyes to be enlightened. But the sun still shines. It does not decide it doesn't want to shine just because other people like it dark.
Girl.
God bless them. But somebody needs this light.
Girl, I don't even know who I am. I cry so much now.
You know exactly who you are. Stop playing. You don't speak that way.
We tease my father all the time because, we had like a major. After my grandmother passed, he became just way more vulnerable, and we were like, he went from this guy that was like always so tough to crying, and I feel like I've hit that point where I was like, strong, and now every emotion hit, and I'm just
Human.
yeah. That is a good way to put it, but that hits deep. I
Yeah.
think, girl, look, I'm all discombobulated. So much I want to go back and touch on. I can't. Okay, here's where I want to go. Let's go back just a little bit.
Okay.
When you had the burnouts, let's talk about this burnout for a second. When you had that nervous breakthrough, I love
Mm-hmm.
that. You had that nervous breakthrough. When you finally came up out of that, what was the first step that you took to say, like, I can't go back to that? Because so many people are living in this burnout world. It is
Mm-hmm.
so real, and people make it look shiny, and people make it seem like that's the only way you can do anything. But you're sitting here now as proof, CEO, starting a program, doing your own thing. And also, girl, look, I feel like I need to take some notes because we're gonna come back from 100 and some dollars to six figure.
Oh
Tell
yeah.
me how I can do it. But this is where you are. You were like, I had 100 and some dollars. Now I have this six-figure business, and you're not living that life of burnout. But you look on social media, you look at the highlights, hustle, grind, hustle, grind. I can sleep, you can sleep when you're dead. Please stop saying that. I hate that. You can sleep
Yeah.
when you're dead. No, we're not subscribing to that.
If you don't sleep, you will die.
Come
Period.
on now. If you don't sleep, you will die. So
Yeah.
if you have been caught up in that glorification of that, let it go. Because you do
Mm-hmm.
not have to burn yourself out to the ground in order to get that. And Lindsay has already been through a situation, so she's here to save you. She has people to serve. And if this is you and you're like, oh my God, you are her people, and she has
Mm-hmm.
already experienced this for you, you don't have to do it. So I need you to take heed to what she is saying. But when you were coming on the other side of your nervous breakthrough, what was the first step that you took to be like, okay, I can't go back? If somebody's listening and they're there, what's this first step we're taking to, like, break this cycle?
So, okay, so it's a two-part thing for me. One, I said a prayer, and I say this prayer often, and I suggest that, you say this or as a mantra or whatever it is. I'm a believer, I'm not judging anybody who's not. So it's like, for me, I would say, Lord, show me everything the enemy doesn't want me to see. Lord, show me every dark space that needs light shined on it in my life.
Mm.
And beyond saying that prayer, sit down with a pen and a paper, get still, get quiet, turn on, the music that gets you to center yourself so you can start reflecting and write out who you want to be. Write out the vision for your life. Like, write out, because you don't want to go back. But it's very easy to go back to your default if you do not have a vision. That's why it says that the people without a vision, without a vision, the people perish, because you only have your looking back to reference. So you need something in front of you. And so write out the vision and make it plain. Say, who do you want to be? What kind of relationships do you want to have? What kind of friendships do you want to have? What do you want your marriage to look like? If you're not married, what do you want the man or the woman that's coming into your life? What do you want them to be? Who do you want them to be and look like? What kind of house do you want to live in? What kind of car do you want to drive? What kind of career do you want to have? Do you want to work a 9 to 5? Do you want to work for yourself? If you do want a business, what's the purpose of your business? What's the identity of your business? Where do you understand where I'm going? The vision is deeper than just saying, oh, I want to be this. And it's okay to have, like, I want to be a speaker, right?
Yeah.
But then write down, well, what kind of speaker do you want to be? What are the things that you can talk about that are gracious, like with grace and with ease? Not you having to Google and say, what kind of things can I know? Your life, the anointing on your life, what you've been called to do cannot be Googled because it's you. And so you have to sit down and write out the vision for your life. And once you it's something so powerful about putting pen to paper. Once you get that pen to paper and you start to identify all of the things that you want, and you align it with the God, the higher power that you serve, you align it with that vision, you start moving, start speaking those things. Like, start saying, well, I'm going to be speaking, so I need to start aligning my life and my the people in my life, I need to start aligning with that vision for me, right? I need to make sure I'm around the people that that kind of feed that vision. I don't need to be around negative people if I'm supposed to be speaking about transformation and positive things. I need to kind of, recalibrate. So that is the most important step I took, was actually developing a vision for my life and saying that prayer.
Oh my God, Lindsay, I'm so serious. I can't say it enough. You are so fire. Just take that in. You are so fire, but that is so true. It's like you want to, and a lot of times, sometimes it is with the people, right? Because you want to be, I think we feel a sense of loyalty to a fault. You have these people around you who, they've always been there. They've always been my friends, and you look at them, and the reality is sometimes friends are seasonal.
Yes.
Sometimes they are, and if they're not support, I'm not saying you have to drop them, and put them on the wayside, but sometimes like there's a time that you have to move on because that stuff can hold you back too.
Yes.
You have to, you got to feed. I was getting ready to say a quote, but they were saying, it's like the story of two beasts, and they ask which one wins, and it says the one I feed.
The one you feed, yeah.
One you feed is the one who that's the one who wins. And so if you have certain things that you want to do, you have to align yourself with that. Vision boards are powerful, but it's not enough to just stick it on the board. Okay, so now what you getting ready to do? You stuck it on the board, right? So of course my podcast has been on my vision board for this year, like taking it to new heights, but I can't just put it there and then not record the podcast.
Exactly.
So I'm like, okay, I put it there, and then I started praying, okay, God, align me with how I'm supposed to take this to the next level. I don't know, but if you can just give me and show me and lead me right to this program, and this program has like set my soul on fire. Yeah, and so now like there are more things I'm doing. Look, we stream, y'all. You see, look, all this extra we got around the screen, we leveling up.
Yes.
Different things that I'm doing to take it to the next level, but also aligning myself. Now I'm surrounded by women, literally, who are getters. You cannot be stagnant in this group.
No.
Wow. You cannot. Like, somebody's always calling you, texting you, somebody's going live, somebody's sharing a win. And within all of that, you cannot stay still. I'm like, I can't sit still. You see all of that goodness, but also just that push, but also the support to make time for yourself.
Yes.
Telling each other, sis, you need to step back for a second. Sis,
oh my goodness.
Break. You feel me?
Yes.
Because it's very easy to get caught up in that. And so we had a call recently where one of our sisters had to take, she took a 72-hour sabbatical.
Yes, she did.
And then she came back. She said, "Whew, y'all, feeling better." But that is that the grind. We get in that and we want to just go. So I'm gonna tell y'all now. Listen, Lindsay Rae Perry already told y'all, you don't have to get to that point to be successful.
No,
she is not burned out. She has a son who is home with her right now. I mean, you holding it. Working a business. She got a son and that he in there napping. She making it happen, but you're not burned out. You're not trying to figure out, well, how do I get this done? How do I get that done? You did a video recently and said, I had to just sit back for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, and understanding that rest is not optional, right? Like taking a day of rest for me, it's not optional. It's a commandment for me. And so a lot of people think we call it a Sabbath, a day of rest where you don't do any work. God dealt with me about making Wednesdays my Sabbath, and I was tripping. I was like, wait a minute, one of the busiest days of the week, and you tell me I can't work? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And I struggled with the day of rest, and I realized how much of an idol work was in my life, because I was sitting on my rest day trying to figure out ways that I can work without making it look like work, right? And this is between me and God. And it's like, okay, God, I'm going to work, but I'm only going to send this email. And he was like, okay, but that's working. Once I got to the point where it's like, all right, let me be obedient and try to feel this. It's not like I have to starve on this day or just like be like crusty and be on my face all day. Like, no, not just don't work. Go and play. Go do something with your family. Go to lunch. Go rest. Do the things that bring you rest. And it's like in the middle of a Wednesday where people are emailing, it is not negotiable. I am out of the office, online, in person. You can email me, but you're not going to get a response until tomorrow. And I'm taking my baby to the park. We're going to get ice cream. I'm taking my family. We're going to get lunch. You know, and I might sit and take a nap that day, or I might read a book, or I might just chill. And what we don't realize is that in our moments of rest, God is still working. So like what we think we need on that day, or what we think we can do, he can do like 100 times better. And the next day you'll find that what you thought was going to take you, you know, an hour only takes you 15 minutes. What you thought was going to be some crazy task, you get support with, you get a phone call, you get an email. So when you honor that day of rest, when you honor that day off, and it doesn't have to be Wednesday, you know, some people do Sundays and Saturdays. I think for me, because work is, I'm a recovering workaholic, God made Wednesday that day for me to make sure that there would be nothing above our relationship. You know what I mean? There would be nothing above. Like, I didn't believe that all of this glory and him taking the business from 0 to 6, that was because of anything that I did but show up. And I was prepared and he did work through me, but it's him. Let me give him the glory for real, for real. And so I had to take that day. And I'm still taking that day. I took that day yesterday and I'm here. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop, but rest is not an option.
And look, it's not an option. And I'm going to tell you, I use Chick-fil-A as an example. Chick-fil-A closed on Sunday and ain't worried about what Popeye or no other chicken place is doing. Chick-fil-A said, we closed on Sundays. Like, we don't even take catering options. The buildings are closed. And guess what? Chick-fil-A still making that money.
Yes.
Still, they don't even need Sunday. Without Sunday. But you also make a good point in boundaries, because I've talked about that on the podcast too, and setting boundaries with other people. And so setting boundaries with other people is important. Sometimes you got to set boundaries for yourself.
Yes.
I mean, so we sometimes think, like, oh, let me set boundaries for this person. You got to set a boundary from yourself. Because sometimes we're the ones that put the extra on ourselves.
Yes.
And so now I need to set that boundary for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll burn me out too.
Yeah.
For sure. A workaholic.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so look, let's before we go, let's talk about how somebody's ready to work with you, Lindsay. They're waiting for the book, they're waiting for the I am Quotient. I'm not putting pressure. I'm just saying, what do the people do in the meantime? Now, if you're watching, you already see I already have her IG name up here. It's Lindsay. Lindsay, also, shout out to your mama for the spelling of your name. I love it. I think you're the only person I know who spells it like this. So it almost looks like Lindsay.
And that's what people would call me growing up. And I absolutely was like, come on.
Like, really? You know that. But it's Lindsay. Rae is Rae, and then Perry, Perry, and it's all together. Lindsay Rae Perry. So they can come to Instagram and follow you, but what should they do in the meantime while they're waiting for you? Because somebody's like, she's my person, I need her.
Well, what they can do is they can go to my website, which is currently being built, my personal website at lindsayrayperry.com, and they can subscribe to my email list. I plan to be sending out all the updates and all the things that I'll be doing. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you can also subscribe to my list and send me a DM on Instagram. I'm very active there. So, and we can talk about, what it is that you're needing and how I can help serve you and get you to building a life and business of your dreams. Look out. I am writing a book currently. And I also plan to do more speaking, and I will be launching a group coaching program soon. So it's being built out. I finally said yes to the calling on my life of actually serving women in this way. So I'm excited. I was straddling the fence, but now I am all in with it. I recognize that this is not about me. It's about the people that need healing, the people that want joy in their life. And so, yes, so
So
just check
excited.
it
Well,
out.
one more question about the I am coaching in the program that you'll be launching. Who specifically um will you be serving? Like if you had to break that down, who specifically was like needs to come to you?
I'm specifically serving the woman entrepreneur or the woman who's aspiring to be an entrepreneur, but just can't seem to get out of her own way. The one who may reach the top of some form of pseudo success and then gets thrown back and trying to figure out why they still don't have joy, why they still don't have peace, why their marriage doesn't seem to be in sync with the life that they want to live, why they can't seem to get the vision all together, confused. The money is not really making sense because the grind is serious. That woman who's working 50, 60, 70 hours can't go to sleep because she's thinking about all the things that she needs to do, wakes up thinking about a career and has no real life and has no abundant life and isn't really making time for family and friends and relationships or making time for herself. The one who believes that if she can do all of this work, then perhaps she can be happy next year. I'm talking to her. The one who believes that she has to do all the things, the one who believes that she has to sign up for 7 to 10 apps in order for her business to scale and be successful. But really what she needs is just to figure out who she is, what it is that she desires so that she can really build a life and a business of grace, ease, and prosperity. That's who I'm talking to.
Oh, listen, if she is talking to you, I need you to go ahead and get connected. I need you to go to lindsayraeperry.com. I need you to go follow her on Instagram at Lindsay Rae Perry. Maybe I'm one of your people, Lindsay.
You are my sister. Yes.
I'm so serious, girl. I love you so much. I am so grateful that we met. I'm super excited about the fact that we're both in Charlotte.
I
You
know. I
know,
need to come to burn my body.
we can work out together. No, but
Yes.
seriously, when the world reopens for real, you know, and these numbers are down and life has another sense of normalcy, you know, we gonna get together out here.
Yes. I'm
Yeah,
so excited.
I'm so excited too. But seriously, I brought you on here to talk to other people, but you spoke directly to me today. I needed that. I was like, "You right, my light, let it shine. I got this." Yeah.
You are a big ball of light. You inspire me. I'll never forget when you went live, or maybe you just recorded a video, but it was just like, wait a minute. So you've been hiding all of that goodness? Like she just came out of the door just blasting. Like all you saw was just light, like just light, just amazing. Your energy is just amazing, and I love you, Jamaica. Like you light a fire within me, and so you inspire me. You
Well, thank
inspire
you.
me.
Well, iron sharpens iron, and the light together just makes a bigger light. And you know, none can take out darkness but the light.
That's right. That's
Gotta let
right.
keep shining. But I'm so proud of you. I cannot wait to watch you speaking on stages. I cannot wait to watch how many lives you're going to change when this coaching program opens up. I can't wait to see how great your book sells. Like all of this stuff is going to
I'm
happen.
receiving it all.
Receive it all. And I'll be like, she was on my podcast, y'all. She was on my
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, I love you for real.
I love you.
Yeah, well, guys, I hope you feel moved. I know you do. I hope you feel inspired. And I know there was something that spoke to you. So if you need that inspiration, or if you definitely feel like, okay, I need Lindsay, go lindsayraeperry.com. Go and follow on Instagram at Lindsay Rae Perry. And let's find out who you are and let's get this healing before we start worrying about this marketing. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, we love you guys, and I will catch you on the next episode. Bye.